Hey, this is Cameron, and welcome to the practice log. It's the start of a beautiful morning session. Look at the sky outside. We're in here, though, and we're going to be playing some guitar, so get ready for that. I'll see you at the chair. So you might be wondering from the title what the heck this one's going to be. Well, let's actually first talk about what I'm going to work on. So today, of course, I have BWV 1001. I'm going to try to memorize the Adagio, try to finish the Presto. Slowly but surely, we are working on that, and then also working on the Mozart variations. The Presto is the last thing that I need before I move on to something else, so I'm excited about that. I'm going to try to put some considerable work into that today, as always, but it's a slow process. Now, on to today's video. I've been taking this time to answer comment questions. Let's take a look at the comment section. And this is a comment talking about right-hand pain. So, Nurse Cameron will be coming out today, and he's going to try to address your right-hand pain. And I thought about this. These credentials are made up, so why am I not Dr. Cameron? I feel like nurses have more fun, and that's pretty much it. I wanted to get a nurse outfit, maybe next time though. This one is from Ibrahim Ishmael. I hope I said that right. I've butchered your name before on the show. It's all caps, by the way. Cameron, help me. My right hand gets tired too fast when doing tremolo. I am not weak. I train my booty off every day. This little classical instrument is not gonna beat me. No, it's not. And you also added on, by the way, I use classical guitar seating position, but I just feel like something is wrong with it. Yeah, a lot of people feel like their seating is off. I change my seating quite a bit too. And just to clarify a few things, you said that you're playing right-handed guitar, which that's good. And I asked some follow-ups because depending on what it is, your fingers, wrist, forearm, it could be several different things. But I think what'll be helpful for you is if we just go through a general technique lesson, just to kind of like make sure all the parts are working, and then I can show you some ways to start thinking about tremolo. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna bring you a little closer. First thing I want to do is just talk about the thumb. That's a place of tension that a lot of people can have. Ideally, you want it to move from this joint, I don't know if it's a joint, but from here, the longest part of your thumb, and your thumb should move like that. So you don't want to just move from this joint here. And these are ways you can even practice technique away from the guitar. See if you can do that without moving your fingers either. So you don't want to like move all your fingers together like that. See if you can just move your thumb and keep a fist. And it's okay to have a little bit of bend here, especially to keep your fingers from like colliding like that. But try to move from there when you play. And then follow through with your thumb too. So moving from that joint, have your thumb land on your index finger. Just follow all the way through. So make sure that's coming out. Try to keep as relaxed as you can. Now, the next thing I want to look at is your wrist, the actual angle of your wrist. Usually, what's causing pain is something like that or something like that. So this is something that guitarists say all the time. Did you know that your fingers don't have muscles in them? They're like puppets being pulled by strings. So it's the tendons in your hand pulled by these muscles that actually pull your fingers in. So you want to actually visualize those tendons running all the way through your hand and wrist. And imagine if they're at an angle like this. You can see how some hot spots would start being formed if you're pulling your tendons and they're going at this angle. And then same thing here, if it's a little too far that way, there's still this angle. I find something like that is pretty healthy because you don't want to get too caught up on straightening out your wrist, because look at what happens when you straighten your wrist. You actually end up with an angle here. So a little bit down like that, that is perfect right there. And then really think about pulling your fingers in with your forearm, and you can even just do that, just curl your fingers in. Resist the urge to do that. That's something that I see a lot. Like when people pull them in, they also raise their wrist. So try to keep your wrist level and just pull them in like that. And that's how we're going to move on the guitar. Now, a good way to start with this, start on the second string or whatever. Use your index finger, I, and move everything together. Imagine you're pushing the string into the guitar and then touch your fingertips to your palm like that. Be really dramatic about that. Like follow all the way through. That is the movement that you want to achieve for a free stroke. And something else that's really, really important. You never want to have your fingers finding where the string is. Like if my hand is here, my finger needs to find it like that. Your fingers shouldn't be doing that. You should just relax your fingers wherever they fall. That is where your fingers relax naturally. Move your arm to where your finger is in the right place. Now, when you play, do everything I just said, and then relax. So you don't pull your finger out by pushing with your muscles like that, like you're flicking. You actually only use your muscles to close your hand, and then to bring your finger back to the string, you just release. And if it doesn't end up in the right spot, adjust to where it does. Adjust your whole hand, and then that's where you keep your hand. When I play this, I release, and I'm completely relaxed right now. Like, obviously you have to keep some support for like your arm to stay on the guitar and your wrist. Mostly relax when you go back to the string. We have all that worked out now. One more thing I want to talk about, because this is regarding the pain now. Pain, like I said, comes from having angles in your joint and carrying too much tension, like trying too hard to get to the strings. You can have angles this way. You can also have angles that way. So think about the normal person right now. If you ask them, is typing on a keyboard bad for you? They will ignorantly and wrongly say, yes, it is bad for you to type on a computer. It's not bad for you to do anything like that. What's bad for you is holding your hands at an angle like that, like a butterfly angle. And this is why, if you're properly trained in classical guitar, it doesn't just teach you how to play classical guitar, it teaches you how to do everything in your life. I love working out and stuff. I'm never injured because I know how to work my body and I know how to move things. Like, I see people doing curls in the gym, doing all these like wacky movements, but no, I'm thinking about the angle of the tendon and the muscle I'm trying to work. And I know that doing unnecessary weird stuff is going to lead to injury. So if you can find a way on a keyboard, instead of typing like that, because look at your mom typing on a keyboard. Her wrists are all out, and then she's talking about getting like carpal tunnel surgery. It's like, yeah, no duh, you need carpal tunnel surgery. Bring your wrists in, see if you can type like that. And also, maybe try to raise them a little bit. Maybe get a thing to raise your wrists up. Okay, same thing here. You want to make sure you're not one of these people who has a bend. Just try to keep them in line, and then slightly raised like that. And you can do that all day for the rest of your life, and you will never have pain again. Now, one more thing I want to talk about, since we're talking about I. Let's bring im into the picture. When we're playing with im, we move I independently, and then im moves with the other fingers. And that's how we alternate. And a way you can practice this now, even away from the guitar, if you just show me your fist, think about all the alignment stuff that I talked about. Wrist up a little bit, make sure everything's in line. Relax your fingers, and I'll start with I, so I touch I to my palm like that. And then my other fingers touch my palm. Mainly just im can touch the palm, the other ones can just be next to it. And then relax I, so it comes out like that. And have them intersect halfway through. And so there's no plucking motion like that. People like to pluck strings. There are many reasons why you shouldn't pluck a string like that. Like, look at the complex movement it is to pluck versus doing that, where you're just moving by this joint. But also, it sounds really bad. Listen to a pluck string versus a string that's pushed down. And the reason why, think back to physics. Like, imagine you have a string. If you pull it up like this, it's really hard to control the actual momentum of the string to not slap against the fretboard. But if you push it down against the fretboard, no matter what, you can play it as hard as you want. It's never going to slap that fretboard. Think of like a pendulum. It's never going to come back to its original position. It's always going to be a little bit lower. Even if you're playing really loud, always push, so you don't get that sound. So that's why you don't do that. Unless you're playing like Motown and funk and stuff, then slap all you want. But you're not Davey 504. You are a classical guitarist. So act like it. This is stuff that you want to practice really slow and just get comfortable with that movement. And pushing down on the string is not an intuitive thing. Like plucking, it's natural to want to pull up first, but you just have to get used to it. Just to talk about practicing tremolo. Do not practice your tremolo just fast like this. I'm not warm. I'm just jumping into that cold, and what's wrong with that tremolo? Well, besides like the sloppiness, the tremolo part is way too quiet, and the bass notes are coming out too loud. So practice it slow, make the bass note really quiet, and then accent those. Just try to make those bass notes as quiet as you can while really bringing out the tremolo. And doing this will be hard, and you have to do it slow to start it off. Eventually, ideally, your thumb will start getting quieter, because your thumb being too loud is always the issue with these tremolo pieces. Your thumb is just doing that while you just hear like barely anything there. So that's something to just go ahead and start thinking about. I think that's enough technique for one video. If any of you have any questions about anything that I said, feel free to ask and I can go further in. Nurse Cameron can come back out. Let me know if you have pain. If you have pain, I will diagnose it. I hope that there's no legal implications to that. This obviously isn't medical advice. I'm just trying to give you guitar advice. I'm saying the disclaimer now. This is not medical advice. Boom. You got nothing on me. I'm just trying to give you a technique lesson. Alright, well, I think that pretty much covers this one. So let's go ahead and get to the practicing, shall we? Alright, that was a pretty fun technique lesson, huh? Alright, as usual, I'm going to start with the Bach. I'm actually going to start with scale practice because I am a good boy today. Alright, I'll see you on the other side. Alright, well I think that's about enough practice for this morning. So, I'm gonna play something for you. Come on over. I told you I've been going hard on that sore Mozart variation. So, I think I'll play the second half of that for you. There it is. Alright, that's where we're at. Kind of flubbed the ending. I mean, I arguably flubbed a lot of that. Maybe you can see, like, some of the scales are getting a bit tighter. I think the scale practice is helping, because I'm starting to get faster with that. I usually practice it slower than that, and I try to build up, and I'm trying to get it faster and cleaner. So we'll give that like a few months of just doing that, and I bet my scales will be pretty darn crispy after that. Alright, well, that pretty much concludes this one, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. Alright, yeah, that was a pretty fun one. We covered a lot of stuff today. And you know, if you made it this far, be sure to subscribe, all the usual stuff. Leave a like, and if you're interested in guitar lessons, I'm available for lessons now for YouTube viewers, so just contact me. All the stuff is in the description. You'll see it there. If you want to have some one-on-one technique lessons, if you have more questions about that, or all the other lessons that I cover a lot of stuff here. That, and if you have any questions about anything, feel free to leave a comment, and I will answer it in the chair at some point, of course. Alright, well, I think that's everything. So, I'm gonna go outside, because it's a beautiful day, and I'll see you tonight.